Day 4 of our tour of the wine producing region of South Africa, kindly sponsored by Wines of South Africa, WoSA. Now, day 4 happens to be a safari type of day. We currently are at Valera wines, and guess what? They have a beautiful game park and wildlife, and it's beautiful how these people are producing wine and still conserving nature. So we're going on a game drive, going on a tour of the game park. We're going to be bringing you shots of zebras, of waterbacks in their majestic look. We're going to be seeing some tortoise. We'll show you the springboks, yes, and you're going to see how fast they can run. So stay with us here on day 4 of our tour of the wines and of course wine producing areas of South Africa.
Red wine leaf shapes, they tend to have a lot more of a bigger space in terms of years, so it leaves out a lot more on red wines. But I'll show you guys there in the tasting room. We have example up there. You can also not see the grapes at the moment, but they are there. They're the tiniest of baby grapes at the moment. See? So those will become the grapes that we pick in summertime. So come January, that's when we're going to start harvesting. And then this is a young vine since it's still on a drip irrigation system. So we only irrigate the younger vines. So this one is about 22, 23 years old. Whereas that one over there is not on irrigation. You can see it's much thicker. That one is much older.
Driving for about 30 minutes on the game park, and it's just beautiful to see. Breathtaking scenery, absolutely beautiful ecosystem. The air here, oh boy, it's just refreshing. You might want to park and come stay here. You get what I'm saying? But what's more intriguing is the fact that you find alternative use for your land space. And so the mainstay of Valera is to produce wines. However, it's not the entire expanse of land they have that is good for the cultivation of the grapes or the vineyards for wine production. And so what do you do with the rest of the land? They thought through it and of course reserved part or portions of the land space to conserve wildlife. And you should be here to really understand how I am feeling and of course the experience I am having right here, because it's just amazing. It's beautiful to see that you're producing wine on one stretch and reserving wildlife on another stretch. These animals, these plants, these insects, they live here in their natural space, natural setting. This is where they reproduce. And the most interesting thing is that Valera is populating other game parks from here. So if the Springboks are overproducing, the rest are sent to different game parks. The zebras, if they're overproducing, they're sent to different game parks. The waterbacks, if they're overproducing, they are sent to different game parks. And I think this is absolutely beautiful and should be replicated elsewhere, especially in my own homeland, Ghana. It's beautiful. We're still at Valera. We're yet to taste wine, but we're enjoying nature as beautiful as it comes. After that rather amazing encounter with nature, what better way to wrap up the morning than with a good glass of wine? And to find out which wine best climaxes the morning, we need to do some wine tasting. So come join me, hand in hand, together. Let's go into Valera wines and savor the aroma and the flavor of their wide range of absolutely fantastic wine.
Which is in the Stellenbosch wine region of South Africa. We've been selling wine in Ghana for many, many years, a super friendly place. We retail and restaurants, so I've been on travels there a few times and I'm more than happy to go back. I've done a lot of training sessions there with the sales team of Citi brothers, and they sell the whole range of our wines from Cup Classique, white, red. And my family purchased Valera in 1983, so it's our 40th year. So we know our vineyards pretty well. We focus on Cup Classique, which is in South Africa. Cup Classique is a classic bottle fermented sparkling wine. So obviously in France they call it Champagne, or if it's outside the Champagne region, it's Méthode Traditionnelle. In Spain it's Cave, and so it goes. In South Africa it's Cup Classique.
Estate, and again we've gone on a safari ride, but this time it wasn't a game or a wildlife reservation. This time it was a wine safari. The Warwick Wine Estate goes all the way up the mountain and down into the valley, and so we had a beautiful drive up the mountain, and guess what? It's time to taste wine.
I'm Christiana, I'm the CEO, and this is JD. He's our cellar master and responsible for everything that's in the glass.
Guys, my name is JD, as Christiana said, and in charge of the winemaking here at Warwick. Great to host you and give you a little glimpse of a vineyard safari. So very different to the safari that I'm sure you know. We always joke we don't have real lions, but we do have wine. So that does make up for a lot of other things. I'll explain to you a little bit just outside where we're situated. So we'll stand in the sun for a few minutes, but we'll keep it short. It is a bit hot now for vineyard actions. But just to give you a lay of the land, I think it's quite important to understand where we are, specifically in relation to the mountain and to the ocean, to understand how that all influences our terroir, our vineyards, and then ultimately our winemaking and the decisions we make towards that. Over to the western side you saw Table Mountain, and if we drive out now you'll see it. It's not a very clear day today, but you can still see the mountain. And then very important to our left is the town of Stellenbosch, and further down is the False Bay Ocean. So we're about 25 kilometers away from the ocean, and so effectively the furthest you can go in Stellenbosch to still be wine of origin Stellenbosch. And you'll see that this mountain makes a little ridge, and effectively you drop over down again to this side. Through that valley you go to Franschhoek, through that valley you go to Paarl, and back that way you go to the Swartland, and then back to Cape Town.
My role at Warwick specifically is interesting because Warwick's first wine was made by South Africa's first female winemaker, Norma Radcliffe. So back in the 80s, Warwick was a fruit and vegetable farm, and they did grow grapes on the property, but no wine was ever made here until Norma Radcliffe decided to teach herself how to make wine. So she read a few books, asked a few questions from different people, and in 1984 she produced the first wine at Warwick. And in her honor, we today have a wine called the First Lady. So it's actually a whole range of wines. The Warwick First Lady, and it starts off with a Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and a Rosé, and the most latest addition is a Pinotage under that.
So the wine on your left is now, we can call it the Professor's cousin, Professor Black, Pitch Black. So this is basically modeled on a Bordeaux blend, dominated by Cabernet Sauvignon, but you also now have Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Merlot, Malbec in, and then also a nice decent portion of Cinsault. Now Cinsault is an old grape variety here in South Africa. It's almost always been around. It's one of the cornerstones in the production or the making of Pinotage. It sort of gives you a little bit of freshness and liveliness to the wine, so it sort of just lightens up a wine that can be quite heavy if it doesn't have that. And the whole idea about the Pitch Black was also to have a wine that you can have almost at any time.
Standing behind a Canon, not sure how old it is, but I definitely know that our next stop is Cannon Cup Estates. We're going inside. I mean, they have an amazing vineyard out here, growing all the way up the mountain and all the way to the west end of the facility. We're going inside because I hear they have special, very special wines. Come aboard.
So as you can see here, this is our vineyards, the one side of our vineyards. Here at the bottom is a new vineyard that we planted in about 3 years ago, 2019, November 2019. So this is still a young vineyard. This year was the first year that we actually got some grapes from it. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon vineyard. So very, very young still. And at the back, if you look on the hill there, it's all pinotage. So all our pinotage is planted on the hill, and at the bottom, on the flatter areas, all our Bordeaux varietals, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cab Franc as well. And then we also, you can't see it from here, but on the other side of the winery, we also have vineyards planted that side. Generally a bit older vineyards are planted on the other side of the winery. That we like to ferment our grapes at, regardless if it's Cabernet or Pinotage. We generally start off with Pinotage in the beginning of harvest. Pinotage is an early ripening varietal, and then it gets to Merlots, and then the Cabernet Sauvignons and Cabernet Francs are generally at the end. So with Pinotage is generally about a 3-day ferment. It's really quick, really fast. That's why we do our sugar readings every 2 hours. So we generally get in the grapes, so we receive the grapes at say 24, 25 degrees boiling. It's a sugar level, so that's about 240 to 250 grams per liter of sugar. And then we'll pump it into the open top fermenter, and the next morning we'll inoculate with yeast. And obviously the yeast uses the sugar, converts the sugar to alcohol that we really want. And as the ferment gets along, your sugar level decreases and your alcohol level increases. Table is built to mimic a barrel, if you look at the bottom. And then also a little bit of a museum to show people the work that goes into and the products that go into wine. So here we've got a block just to show how they cut the staves for the barrels, how the computer draws it up to get the most out of those oak trees.
As the sun sets in Paarl here in South Africa, it cast a red hue on the Rooiberg mountain. Now this informed the names of one of the amazing wines produced by Laborie, the Rooiberg wine. For more of such rich history and fantastic wines, join me on a tour of Laborie.
To Laborie Estate, and we are actually your guys are visiting KWV, and Laborie Estate is we do the brand for Laborie. So I'm just going to take you on a small little tour and show you the beauty of the Western Cape and especially Paarl. KWV was established in 1918. Tanya was so nice to print out the whole history of KWV. So if you drink too much wine now and you're going to forget what I told you, luckily You've got the book with all the information in there. I hope she put my cell phone number in there as well so that you can contact me if you need any more information. I think she probably put her cell phone number there, so I'm actually glad that she did that. Otherwise, I know everyone's going to phone me the whole time. So KWV was established in 1918. So we're more than 100 years old. 100 years. How many companies are still surviving 100 years? There's a lot of new companies popping up and starting, but there's not a lot of companies that can actually say that they're more than 100 years old. We buy grapes from a lot of different farms, and then we actually can cherry pick where we want to put our brands, what quality of wine do we want to do. We've got quite a big team of viticulturists, so we've got our chief viticulturist, Marco Ventrella, and then we've got Ursula Lanier, and then Anneke, that also 3 people working in the vineyards, driving like crazy to all the vineyards, working with the farmers, with the producers. They really are trying to get the best out of the vineyards. And the nice thing is we actually had our producers day today, and where we meet up with all the people that supply grapes to us, and we've got long-term contracts with them. Some of them been with KWV for 50 years, others been for 30 years, for 10, for 12 years, and because it's a good relationship. We support them in the times when it's going tough in the vineyards. They support us when we are having tough times selling wine. So it's a partnership. And when we win awards, my phone goes crazy. All the farmers will send messages, producers will say, congratulations, and they know where their grapes are going in. So they know each and every brand of KWV, and they know where their brands are going in.